If fighting was a god, I would worship him. I would bow to him. I would pray for victory. For he only grants opportunities. But behind every god lurks a devil. And the devil wants me to take a dive. My name is Annatomic. And this is how my legend was made.
When footsteps fall in eldritch hollows, and spectres flee into the shadows, that is the time when horror's heroes abound, culling the ghouls that go bump in the night.
You're now entering the domain of paint and canvas. The only limits are those of the imagination. New possibilities will emerge with every brushstroke, and the paint thickens.
From the heart of Lovecraft Country and the birthplace of American religious liberty, my name is SHANTH ENJETI. You're watching SHANTH ENJETI Art. and welcome to the horror of painting, folks. How are you guys doing? It is great to see you. I am here at the studio in my home working my tail off. I just packed up some paintings to get shipped out. Things have obviously been very crazy this week, and so what we're going to do is have a little bit of painting and a little bit of escapism, and you guys are going to watch me make a painting once I figure out what the heck it's going to be. And yes, Random McRanderson, that is me doing my best Vincent Price, who I think we could call Victor Price. I think that'd be fair to say. And let me see who I've got here in the chat. Of course, I've got channel member, my brother in art, Timmy Mello. How are you doing, Timmy? It is great to see you. Let's see. We got Random McRanderson in the house. Good to see you, Random. We've got Leg Kick 1, speaking of OG. We have got Amoral Fat 40 ounce. How are you doing, brother? It's great to see you. And let me see who else, if I got to make sure I have everybody. All right, those are the folks I've got over here on YouTube. So, guys, if you would, hit that like button if you have not yet. And if you're over on X, hello, how are you doing? Feel free to say hello. You don't have to be a stranger. Oh my goodness gracious! But yeah, I've definitely been doing, you know, I have to do so many voices every now and again. When you're a parent, right? You have to do, you know, the Mickey Mouse voice every now and again. Stuffed animals sometimes have to have voices for your kids. You know how it goes. And so yeah, so I had to be, you know, use the best I have in my vocal ability. This is going to be tricky because I always have to figure out where it's going to go so that you guys can see it. You guys can see the palette. And I think we've got a pretty good setup right there. I kind of hold it out like this when I work. So here's what we're going to be doing today. So yeah, when you hear me saying, when footsteps, that's it, you know. In eldritch hollows, inspectors flee into the shadows. That's my silly Vincent Price imitation that I got to do sometimes. Might not be up for right now, but lucky day, says Pity Ma. Lucky day for me too. It's good to see you, my friend. To catch you live in the afternoon. Yes, indeed. So guys, so Pizza Live. Not sure what day I'm going to do it because I have a visitor coming in this week. And but the next Pizza Live that we do is going to be the 1916 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. A great silent film. It blew my mind when I saw it, you know, and was just thinking, oh my God, I can't believe they were doing this in the early 1900s. They were doing underwater photography and filming. It's incredible. So here's what I'm going to be doing. As always, if you are new to the horror of painting and you're new to this channel, for heaven's sake, well, why haven't you subscribed yet? I'm going to do a painting, and I'm going to take you from start to finish. We're going to work in acrylics. We're going to work in heavy body acrylics. And right here and in the description are a list of everything that I use. So this will give you an idea of exactly what I use. If it's on this list, that's what you should buy if you want to learn how to do things that I'm doing. I always say this is that I only list supplies that I know will work, and I list materials that I know will work. And if you add variables to that, you're going to run into problems. And so I always think the biggest problem that people run into is that people will say, okay, why don't you get some acrylics? Well, all acrylics are not the same in terms of viscosity, coating power, and even the brands are different. So I like to tell people the exact colors to get when I'm teaching them how to paint, and that's how I do all of my teaching and how I used to do all of my teaching back in the day when I was teaching illustration for, oh my gosh, how long was it? Was it 18 years, I think it was? Heavens. And so there are your colors right there, and then we're going to get to work looking at this stuff. We've got Tammy in the house. How are you doing, Tammy? It is great to see you. How are you doing? And hail. It sounded mostly like, well, shoot, I just missed it there. There we go. Mostly like Price. I'm not an expert enough to say exactly why it's not the same. His particular, well, because he's Vincent Price, for heaven's sake. And cadence and accent is really close. Yeah, Vincent Price is just a miracle and a treasure. What's up, Alpha Channel? How are you doing, channel member? Good to see you guys. Just updated the channel member credits for all of you. So today what I'm going to be painting, I know I mentioned the possibility of painting this before, but I think we're going to do it, is I'm going to be painting Pumpkinhead today. That's what I want to do. I think it'll be fun. It's a creature, and I can show you guys some really fun tricks and things that we can do to make a really cool painting and to do some stuff that might be interesting. Now, I don't know how this is going to go. It might go terribly. You never know, but that's okay because, you know, that's part of the fun of watching somebody paint. I used to have former students of mine who started getting into teaching and became teachers. And they said to me when I was teaching them, they would go, "How come more teachers don't do demos like you do?" And I said, well, that's really simple. It's because whenever you paint in front of people, there's a chance that things can go completely sideways. And they didn't fully appreciate it until they became teachers and had their first demo go sideways, and it was hilarious. What's up, Mike Likes Tacos? How are you doing? A visitor. Sounds like sounds ominous, like a bug with skin that comes to visit. Yeah, it could be a shadow person. You never know. I've been listening to a lot of Art Bell lately, and of course, you know Mrs. Enjeti's experience with that kind of thing, which terrified me to find out. But there you go. That's how the world works sometimes. So here's what I'm going to do for starters here. I'm going to pick two complementary colors that we're going to work with, okay? Now, this is important to do for a lot of reasons, but the biggest reason is if you're trying to learn how to paint, what you need to understand is you can get a satisfying, rich, and full color range painting, or something that gives the feeling of a full color range with black, white, and two complementary colors. Now, in this case, what I'm going to be using is the, whoops, have them upside down there, is the manganese blue, which is the blue I suggest you get, and the cadmium orange. And so those are the ones we're going to start with because I think it'll be fun. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad to hear that, Pitty Ma. Yeah, for all of you guys, oh my God, dude. Yes, Timmy. Yes. I will tell that story while I paint. Remind me to do so. But it was, yeah, I'll probably tell that story while I'm putting paint on the palette here. So Mrs. Enjeti is not like me. She's not one of those people who believes in ghosts and all of that other stuff. And I do completely, and am freaked out by that kind of stuff. And and I have, she has always, she, indulges me and is not, militant in her, in her lack of belief in those things. But she's the kind of person where she says, you know, like, yeah, that's never happened to me, never happened to me. And so she asked me what I was listening to when I was listening to Art Bell at some point, and I said I'm listening to Art Bell, and he's talking about shadow people. And she's like, "Well, what's that?" And I go, "Well, shadow people is this phenomenon where people, while they're awake, see a completely dark silhouette of a person." Oh no, it was when I was watching the Y-Files, and they were talking about it. And she just looked over at me casually and was like, "Going, oh yeah, I saw that once." You could have knocked me over with a feather, guys. You could have knocked me over with a feather. I could not believe that that was something that she said. And then she proceeded to tell me this story, that back when she was younger and her and her sister, her little sister, were sharing a room, that she woke up. She goes, sun was pouring in the window, so I was clearly awake. Oh my God, a super chat from Leg Kick One. I love it. I love where your head's at. Because I want to, says Leg Kick One. Well, Leg Kick One, I appreciate you, and because you've deserve it, is the way I would put it. Here's a cheerleader for you, brother, and much, much, much appreciation. Many thanks. Charge! Now, I know all we have is a silhouette, Leg Kick One, on that one, but if you could do me a favor, we're trying to narrow down possible suspects in this painting crime that happened. If you guys can figure out who that is from the silhouette, I'll give you another look at it. We got to figure this out. Charge! It may go on to be one of those great unsolved mysteries, guys. It might go on to be one of those great unsolved mysteries. So here's what I'm going to do. I want to show this to you guys, and we're about to see Shanth create something from scratch. Like only, oh, thank you. Thank you, Amoral Fat 40 Ounce. I appreciate your confidence. When it goes sideways, you can watch me grimace. So I want to show you one of the fun things about working on a black canvas. Now, I really enjoy working on dark canvases because when I'm putting the paint on it, those little flecks of white that can sometimes come through the canvas can be very distracting. And if you work on something that's either gray or black or any kind of tone, you don't have that light refraction problem that can happen. And you still can gesso canvases sometimes, but it just presents some problems. And so I'm going to show you guys how to get some paint down on this thing. And I'm just going to get my brush going. And then what do I want to put down here? Let's try to take a little bit of black and a little bit of blue. Ooh, that's nice. I love this color. Hopefully you guys can see it all right. but it's manganese blue and black. Now, I will oftentimes take another color and mix it in so it's not just two colors I'm mixing. But in this case, because it's a ground, I really want to. And here's the thing too. Like, even though this is a canvas that is gessoed and it's dark, I want to put down a ground because the way I paint and the way I try to work is both fast and about keeping a proper viscosity down. A proper viscosity means that the paint has a flow to it. And if you get the water to pigment ratio, and the only medium I ever use with heavy body acrylics is water, a little bit of water to get that viscosity right. And I've heard people, because they're using information from from how these paints used to be very concerned about the use of water when you're acrylic painting and all of that kind of stuff. And it's a little bit of, I think they're a little bit overly concerned about that, but it's also, I have paintings that I've done this technique on long enough to where I have paintings that are 2 decades old, and the color is still there, the paint is still there, and I'm not known for my, for my ease of moving my paintings around, much to my wife's frustration. So look at how we're coating this, and look at how we're just doing nice long strokes. So when you're putting your paint down, right, and I always say this, people go, well, what's the thing to keep in mind? The consistency should feel like warm butter when you're putting it down, and you shouldn't worry about how perfect all the brush strokes blend. Like if you get some areas of more high contrast, because this is a painting, you don't want to destroy it. But if you've ever gotten a terrible massage from somebody, that's not how you want to apply paint. Where it's just jabbing and little pinching and little, like, no, 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 no. You want to move the brush across and through. That's what you want to do. You don't want to do these little jabby, annoying brush strokes. And by the way, the only reason you're going to be able to do that, and the primary reason why people have trouble with acrylics, is they never take the time or have someone who knows how to teach them how to get the viscosity of the paint right, how to get the flow of the paint right. And once you learn what it's supposed to feel like, when it doesn't feel that way, it's like driving standard for those of you guys in my age demo or older. It's like driving standard transmission. You understand what the clutch ratio is so that you can start your car on the side of a Tennessee ridge without falling off the ridge, going backwards in neutral. And it's the same thing. How to do it without stalling, how to do it without dragging. And that's what we're after right here. Does that make sense? And so here you have it. Sean, what's up, Mark? How are you doing? I just packed up your painting just now. It is going very, very well. Hopefully I'll be able to get that out tomorrow. I'm going to take a trip to the post office. But it's great to see you, man. That came out great. We'll see how this one goes. Fingers crossed. But you can see now how I'm taking this time. By the way, this should be enjoyable. I think if you're that, one of the reasons why people have a horror of painting, a fear of painting, dare I say, is because when, like with swimming, if you have a bad first experience with it and you're not introduced to it right, it's worse than having never tried it before. And I think everybody knows what I mean by that. You just don't, you're going to have a little bit of fear with it. And this part, look at how much time it's taken me, which is not a lot, to put down the base ground on this painting. That's it. We're not worried. It's moving. Everything is coming along really, really nice. And so I think that that's the biggest takeaway I want you guys to have when you're looking at the stuff that I'm doing today, is that it's not about, and I'm going to grab a little bit of white, little bit of titanium white. Is it titanium white? Let me just double check here. It's, well, actually, I use a tube of Malin white, for those of you guys who don't know. If you know, you know. And so let me grab this and add a little bit more white into it. And now I'm not really concerned with anything other than getting the value correct on this. No, the monster has not happened, Mark's Music Obsession. If I didn't have a canvas and a brush in my hand, I would have put that on screen. But no, you did not miss me painting the monster. I'm going to try, we'll see how this goes. I'm going to try to do this Now, fingers crossed all, but we'll see how it goes. And remember, it's just a painting. You know, we'll get through it. So I'm going to do something that I really enjoy doing when I'm doing this work. Look at how because the ground is not totally dry, which I know a lot of people can get stressed by. Don't get stressed by it. Just don't do that to yourself. It's painting. I can pick up some of the ground there, but not in the way to where it's ripping it from the surface of the painting. Because again, once you have that paint viscosity right, it's going to give you a lot more than when you have it wrong. And so my battles with painting, I always tell students in general, your battles with painting are won or lost here, right here on the palette, not on the canvas. And much like someone who is really good at drawing or painting from life, they spend the majority of their time looking at the subject and less of their time looking at the paper where they're making the marks. The same thing is true with painting. With painting, you want to spend the majority of your time here on the palette, and then you want to be decisive when you get here. And now, fortunately for you guys, or unfortunately, depending on, I can talk and paint at the same time. And something you should use as a takeaway from that is that I can't be stressed out painting if that's the case. Because if I'm stressed out painting and I'm trying to talk to you guys, it's going to go off a cliff. And so I need to really be able to be relaxed and enjoy this process. And not to mention this time with you guys as well, which I do appreciate. I always appreciate the time together, and I think that that's an incredibly precious thing, and it's just a great time to sit here and share art and share the possibilities of what we can do here. What is up, Apex Comics? It's great to see you, and no, Mark, don't worry, you did not miss the monster. The monster is coming, as we say up here in New England. Got Mac in the house; he knows what I'm talking about. Let me see here. Okay, so now let me go back to here. Hang on a second. You ever sit down on one of your shirts and it pulls on your shoulder? That's no fun. We don't want that to happen. All right, so here we go. Oh, there we go. So let me just double check. All right, so you guys can see, hopefully you guys can see, my glasses are falling. Up, down, up, down. You're absolutely right. Absolutely. No, it is, listen, you could probably learn more from Karate Kid about how to paint than you can at some art schools, which is terrifying. So here we go. I'm going to go in like that and that. All right, let's see here. Okay, so now what you're going to start to see happening is you're going to start to see a little bit, hopefully, of the silhouette of Pumpkinhead. And we are painting Pumpkinhead. For those of you guys who don't know, a very interesting, strange movie. But that was a directorial, one and only directorial work by Stan Winston, who was a special effects artist of Stan Winston Studios. It's incredibly difficult to describe the plot of this story. It's very surreal and it's interesting if you're into that kind of thing. And I just want to have just a little bit of a highlight there. I don't want to, just so I can see where the form is going to go. And so there you go. So now is going to be the tricky part. Let's see how this goes. So now we're going to take these colors and I'm going to show you guys the power of a little bit of complementary colors. So I'm going to take the white. I'm going to take the blue. I'm going to grab a little corner of that orange. Ooh, that's a lot. We tried to, picked up a little paint there accidentally. These colors are great because they're so powerful that a little bit goes a long way. I always say use colors that are really, really bright and mix them into each other to get very, very interesting mud and grays. So this is just orange, blue, and cad orange. I'm sorry, cad orange, blue, black, and white. So let me mix that up. And you can see how much time I'm spending over here on the palette. Just trying. It's going to be probably a little too watery for what I would usually do. But let's just see how this goes. Let's see how this goes. All right, so Pumpkinhead people. I feel like this shirt's getting in the way. Hang on a second. Oh, got paint on my hands. Well, I got paint on my hands and champagne in my bath. There it is. Let's see here. That quote always makes me laugh. So let's get a little bit of blue, a little bit of this, and now let's do this. What's up, Jimmy the Lumberjack? How are you doing? I found my glasses. Sorry for the mistake. I don't know what the mistake was, Jimmy, but you're welcome. So here we go. All right, so let me come in here. We're going to start to rough in some of the forms. Now, this is a crazy looking creature, so I wanted to do something that was a little bit of a challenge, and we'll see if I've bitten off more than I can chew. And usually that's the case, so we'll have some fun. I go in and put a little bit, start to work in a little bit of a highlight there. And then I'm going to start working toward the light is going to be coming from this side, which it's always good to remember where your light is. But I also am working from a really cool photo. And I think that's one of the things about it is if you watched me on last Monday on CG Kings, Comicsgate Kings on Ethan Van Sciver's channel, Comic Artist Pro Secrets, you saw me paint a Batman out of my head. So you will get to a point where you're painting out of your head, and I could paint this out of my head. But, you know, for something like this, I don't want to. I want to actually spend time with it. And that's really the great thing about photo reference and studying, I should say, in general, is that you want to have something, you want to be learning, and you want to be seeing things that are new. And if you bring to every painting the formula you have for how you do things, it never really grows. And so I do a lot of study. I try to practice as much as I study, and study as much as I practice. So, oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be cool. And right now I'm just roughing in approximately where the forms are. And then right here, it's got this wild kind of, you know, anatomical structure for the shoulder that's really creepy. He kind of, I mean, that's why it's so cool. This Pumpkinhead character looks like, you know, oh, what do you call those dang things? I can't believe I'm blanking on a gourd. He looks like some kind of gourd, and it's really a wild character design, and it's got this great look to it. So let me go in and start to rough in some of the values right in there. And let that stuff, and now I'm just gonna go through it a little bit. And because the viscosity is where I want it to be, we'll start to form things up a little bit. And that's just two colors that we're doing right now. What's up, Mark's Music Obsession? Oh, see, and that's what's so fun about it, Seeker of the Moon, and it's so cool. And Mr. Monkey Boy 1969, great to see you. And of course, Tammy will be right back. But yeah, so here's the thing: the colors will always work together if the colors all have the same color mixing to make them. You also have less trouble matching your colors if that's the case. Now, with that kind of rough in job right there, now I'm going to get to move to a little bit of a smaller brush here and see what we can come up with. Where is that brush? Here we go. I'm going to use another flat because that's the thing I think is really good for you guys to work with and kind of get in the habit of, because it'll rounds are great. I do use rounds when I do Nosfero, which is closing, by the way. I decided I'm going to close it, and it's the book's together. I'm going to be talking to the printer, but I'm going to close the campaign for October because I just think it works with Halloween, and that's my plan. But I've got the finished InDesign document more or less done. I just want to have it proofread. So yeah, something to look forward to, guys. So now I'm going to take this, and I'm going to start roughing in with the brush the features. And you can see that we've got a really nice ground. And that's going to help us to put this character, this creature together. Oh, this is fun. And so what I love is, because these creature designers who came up in the kind of wake and genius of Rick Baker, Rob Bottin, Stan Winston, all of those guys. They made some of the most fun. And what is up, Mark's Lord Hinson Comics Gator is here. What's up? Not Mark's Museum episode. I always see Mark first. Lord Hinson Comics Gator, how are you doing, my friend? Hail. Yes, indeed. It is. There's so much fun to be had with this stuff, and so we want to have a monster and a creature that brings that kind of great vibe to it. And that's what we're doing here. So I'm going to bring this around. There we go. There we go. And yeah, it's coming. Oh, yeah. Oh, listen, Mark. I'm telling you now, guys, the bonus features in the new editions of Nosfero are completely new. I didn't think I had that many things that you have not seen before, but I do. So if you have the other editions of Nosfero, the Oxidized edition is exclusively preview content for the next Nosfero book, and the I ordered both editions of Nosfero, both editions of Springball. I missed my glasses. There had a Springball #2. Any plans for Springball #2 to update edition? Best wishes. I'm not sure, Mike, what you mean. Do you mean that the next rephrase that for me, brother, and I'll see if I can put that together. This is the whole walking and chewing gum thing I gotta keep working on. I'm always like thinking, okay, did I read that wrong? So yeah, just hit me with that again. But yeah, so the next issue of Springball is going to be such a departure from the second book of Nosfero, which was available. The original editions of that were available in limited quantities on the Springball campaign, which is live. The link's at the description, as well as the link to Nosfero, the fully painted comic book that started this whole crazy thing. But yeah, it's going to be so different. You can actually get the I have an edition of the book which is called the Throwback Edition, and that's me reproducing the artwork from Springball issue 1. With it's not really it's not a second printing. It's not going to look like the original first issue in terms of the cover, but or the it's not a straight facsimile by any stretch. But for those of you guys who want to do a comparison, now can you see what we're doing with the value? This might as well just be black and white, but it's two complementary colors with two complementary colors with white and black. That is it. That's how we're putting this stuff together, and it holds together because colors that are all mixed from the same base colors. Anything you mix from the same base colors is going to hold together. And the reason you do that isn't just some purely an art trick. It's because sunlight comes through a blue atmosphere. Just look up at the sky if you don't believe me. And so it tints everything blue. The only time what you see is not tinted blue by natural light, it's at either sunset or I don't know, I'm trying to think of weather phenomenon that black out the sun and make it so that certain colors don't pass through the atmosphere, and so you get this very different color. And that's why when we see a complementary color like orange on blue at a sunset, we go, ooh, wow, isn't that beautiful? And it's because we're so used to looking at blue that orange becomes spectacular. If the sky was orange all day, at sunset turned blue, we'd have the same reaction. So now let me see if I can start to plan out where these go in here. Let's see this here. Oh, so funny. Even something as simple as just dropping in some notation marks. Look at that. And again, this is blue, black, white. That's it. With probably a little bit of orange left over on my brush. I may move these eyes too, because the cool thing about painting is it's not about, erasing and all of that other stuff like drawing is. You are continually reducing things, making things, change shape. But this stuff helps you. Do you see how we can already start to see this character coming out of this? So if you have clouds after a storm, sometimes when the clouds come, they will filter in the sunlight and you'll get some wild colors. You also get God rays. Oh, on the Springball campaign, it said copies of Springball #2 were sold out. Yes. So the only way to get copies of that now, I think, is in the whatever I had it as, the Springballer tier, the biggest tier. I don't think you can get copies of issue 2 any other way because I think they're sold out. but you might be able to find them online. I don't know if people are selling them now, but because of the whole all of these guys in the chat went and bought them all up. But there are some, there might be some available. There might be some available. So let me grab a little bit more of this here, and I'm going to start to put in some of the teeth. Now, this creature, whoa, it just slipped. This creature has, make sure I'm putting these in right, or close enough. This creature had these great, great teeth. And there's just something really creepy about them because it was one of those creature designs where you have the teeth in the middle, and then there's going to be a lot of gum right there, and then right back there you've got some sharp teeth that are sitting back in space. You see what I mean? And then over here it's the same thing. You've got some sharp teeth that are sitting right back in there, and look at how creepy that starts to look. And that's the thing for me that's just a blast, man. That's the stuff that's fun about painting. And so again, look, I'm just kind of using the edge of the brush and angling them in. I'm not trying to draw a perfect curve because that will, there's a chance if you get your curve wrong, that it's not going to have the structure. But the other thing is, we actually, even though curves exist, I mean, I'm willing to go out on that limb. The reason why we don't, how we interpret curves is based on the fact that light comes straight on and then it makes angles to define edges of things. So you're always going to be better off thinking about things in terms of angle as opposed to curves. And that's something I think a lot of artists and young painters run into. They see the curves and they try to draw the curves, but one of the best rules you'll ever hear about doing illustrations of human anatomy is if something that's a curve can be turned into a straight line, make it a straight line so that you've got the angles and your figures will be much stronger. And I use that, and that's what I do when I'm painting figures, and that's why they work. So here we go. We're going to go right up in here, and then we're going to come over to here, put some of that in there. And if anybody is wondering, I have never painted Pumpkinhead before. I've never painted this creature before. And this is always, whenever I do one of these streams, what's the hardest part about it, and the trick of it is it's a huge leap of faith. It's a big time leap of faith. I have no idea how this is going to turn out. It could go completely sideways. That's kind of the fun, I guess, of watching this stuff, is it can go completely sideways. But it's vicarious horror here at the Horror of Painting, where things can go sideways in a hurry. And then I'm going to take the same edge of the brush here, and I'm going to start to put in some edges right along there. And we're going to build up this brow that's coming around right here. And we're just going to move that, move that, move that. I think I just heard Mrs. Enjeti come home. Isn't that nice? And then we're going to move this, this. This. There we go. And you can see how we're not, and let me see if I can give you guys a better angle so you can see what the color actually looks like. There you go. That's a little better. This is, on eBay, SPRINGBALL number 2 is, oh my God. On eBay, SPRINGBALL number 2 is now going from $55 to $100 before you launched your Indiegogo campaign. I couldn't find it anywhere. Oh, man. That is crazy. Sorry to hear that, Lord Henson Comics. I mean, I'm glad if hopefully you found it, or you got it on the campaign. But yeah, I know it's starting to it's going up there. And the first issue too is getting really tough to find. I don't think I even have any copies except for maybe one or two of the first issue, or that would have been on the campaign, which is kind of insane to me now. All right, so now that we've got this stuff kind of roughed in a little bit here, let me do a little bit more with this brush. And I'm going to put in just a bit of, let me move this so you guys can see it, just a bit of where there's a blue edge light. Mainly because I've got orange and blue. I've got an edge light. I always love edge lights. You can see me put those on like crazy when I'm painting. But I want to just do blue on that side, so when I do the worms on this side, it kind of makes sense. And so I'm going to take that, and then see where the arm is going to be coming out from this guy. What a creepy character this is. Never painted this character before. Kind of fun. There we go. Look at that. Fun little paint marks. We just bring this stuff across. Oh yeah, I know you have all those original Spring Ball books, Mark. No, I know that. You guys have been on it, man. You guys have been on it. It's crazy. I was surprised when people started buying that, and then I started seeing people just a couple of weeks ago. People were buying Threshers, the first book I did when I was 17. You know, that I did for a publisher, and I thought, what on earth? This is just wild. All right, so now, and I got to make sure I'm giving you guys a better angle on this thing. There we go. That's a little bit better. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start really kind of paying attention to some of the details by taking orange over here, a little bit of white, mix that together. I'm just going to let it give you a little bit more of a focus here. Grab a little bit of black, which I really should get some more of that out. And I'm going to start looking at areas and opportunities to put in some highlights. So let's do this here. It's easier when it starts to dry because then I can rest my wrist on here without running into trouble. So this thing is wild, man. It's got a lot of sort of textures, and it's got a lot of bumps on it. Again, it's almost like painting a pumpkin in that way. So maybe this will be useful if any of you guys have a strong interest in painting pumpkins. And then I'm going to take this right here. Just kind of making these little nodules and all these strange things on this creature here. And it's going to come up this way, and I'll maybe do another bigger bump there. Let's see here. I think Uncle Bob would always say, making the sound effects helps. It really does. And then there we go. It's always nice to remember to put your glasses on, make sure they're on your face right. Okay, so now I'm going to get some more black paint because I need that. I've been putting it off. Let me see here. All right, so Michelle Bauer says, hey, Mark's Music Obsession. Hey, Michelle, how are you doing? Lord Henson Comic Skater, I got issue 1 for just under $3. That's what I'm talking about. Lord Henson, did you find it in Texas and you let everybody know day one backer? You know that's right, Lord Henson, and I appreciate it. Oh my gosh, Alpha Channel, from your lips to God's ears. But yeah, it's wild. What's up, JWK Creates? How are you doing, my artist brother? Everyone's having a pleasant day. Yes, we are. Thank you so much for asking. Yeah, we got a little bit of escapism via acrylic paint for the day is on order. Let's see here. And it's just, to me, if I can help anybody, and I heard someone say this, it's one of my favorite things to hear people say. Or these are two of my favorite things I like to hear people say. People saying, hey, it's relaxing to watch the painting come together and watch you do that. And then as well, it's always fun to hear people say, hey, this makes me want to try painting. Maybe I had a bad painting experience, when I was younger, but I think I want to give this a shot again. Because I didn't learn how to actually, really paint until after I graduated from college, and I wasn't painting as my main mode of making work until, gosh, let me think, until probably my mid to late 30s, I want to say. So yeah. So we've got some dark blue here, moving that around. Get a little bit of orange here. This might be a little too bright, but I want to try it. Oh, look at that. That's fun. And again, these are very muddy and gray colors. Really muddy colors. And muddy colors is a term we use for when you mix two complementary colors into each other, and it makes an engaging kind of earth tone. So by mixing complements, you get that. If you mix too many colors together, you just get something that looks awful. It kills all the life in stuff. So it's not just mixing colors until you get brown. It's it's mixing colors against each other and finding where they harmonize. That's what making muddy colors is, as opposed to graying colors down or making them more chalky, which is just adding white and black to the mix. And that's where you're able to do that. So you guys can start to see how that comes together. You know, thank you so much for letting me know. Just found it on your campaign. I got it, so worth the. Oh wow! Thank you, Mike Wood. Wow, that's awesome. I just bought Threshers today too. Best wishes to you and your family. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. My friend deserves a cheerleader. Here you go, Mike.
Charge!
Much appreciated, Mike. And remember, we're going to catch that guy. Again, guys, if you guys have any tips based on the silhouette of who that could be.
Charge!
We may never know. We may never know, guys. That's the scary part of it all. So here we go. So now we've got that happening. I'm going to grab a little bit of, let's see here. I'm going to grab a little bit of that black because I want to start kind of lining a few things in here. We're going to go right across here. And I'm going to drop some of these wild textures in here. There we go. Ooh, gosh, this thing is creepy. Really nice design. Monster design. And it seems to me, based on my memories, recollections of the movie, and just taking a look at it the other day, glancing at it, that it was, it had script issues, but it was just a really cool character design. I think it deserves a better, or at least a more fleshed out script. I think could be cool because scripts are usually where things, that are, movies in particular tend to fall apart. You do need good actors. You do need, folks who can carry the film. But I think that's one of the big problems people run into. So now I'm going to just knock that eye back just a little bit so that it's not so stand out right there. There we go. There we go. Now it's, oh gosh, I'm blocking it with my head here. Let me see if I can move the camera so that it's less of a problem. That might be better. So here we go as we're putting this thing in. All right, so now I'm going to go and start to put in a little bit more. See, that's where I run into my troubles here. Oh, I know what it is. Hang on, it's the phone. Moving everything on the gimbal but this. The thing I need to. All right, so now that we got that, let's do this thing. So, alrighty. Yeah, the spring ball, the big spring ball tier is going to be very cool. I cannot wait to get those together. It's funny too because as I was working on spring ball and Nosfero the Oxidized edition and the art only edition, while I was getting the spring ball campaign together, while I'm working on spring ball Death Will Die, all of that stuff, and then streaming and Pizza Live and all that stuff has to happen at the same time. It's just we're continually working. And sometimes I have to remind myself to come on in here and do a stream with you guys because otherwise it's just me doing all this stuff. And when I have you guys, speaking of people who I love seeing in the chat, what's up, a man called Plush? How are you doing? It's coming into this into Comicsgate. One of the things that's the most fun about it is engaging with the fans and engaging with people who love art and people who care about all this stuff and talk about books and so many crazy cool things. And I think that that's what's always been the lifeblood of, friendship and fellowship and all of those things that are important, and beauty and aesthetics, the things that are really worth fighting for. And that's the stuff that that I try to always remind myself when I come in here and when I'm doing streams is, hey, get out there and remind yourself of how much amazing and cool stuff there is and great people there are out there that you're making work for. And whenever I do fulfillment or send paintings in the mail and I write that person's address down, it makes it real for me. And that's what's so fun. It's no longer just a distant thing. I'm like, this is going to somebody's house. They're going to open this thing and they're going to be hopefully so excited when they get it. And that's what makes it, ooh, that's kind of fun. I like what happened there with the white paint. I'll try not to wreck that on my way through here. Because that's another thing too. Don't want to crowd the life out of your work. And it's tricky when I'm trying to get an angle where you guys can see it and trying not to get a reflection. But, you know, we'll get it done. We'll find a happy medium. Oh, there we go. That's fun. I'm just going to kind of rough in around that eye so I can kind of knock that stuff back. You see how that just nicely kind of fades it back and then it kind of slips into the shadows a bit? That's what's so fun. Yep. Wealth can be measured by one's proximity to beauty. Yeah, that's really true. And hence why I married Mrs. Enjetti. I'll tell you that. Where is that, Rocky? You guys have been missing each other's streams. Yeah, I know. I'm always, well, sometimes I'm Clark Kenton. Sometimes I'm in the chat and I just am keeping a low profile because I'm working on something and I can't really type or anything like that. So, yeah. But yeah, Rocky, it's so funny. We were just texting the other day. I think I can't remember what we were texting about. But I think we were just, we're just a couple of chuckleheads, like you'd imagine. Like I'm sure you guys know by now. Look at that. And because the paint viscosity is right, when I go in and I start to drop these values in, they just blend so nicely. And I love that about it, you know. This hat is getting through all kinds of trouble right now. Let me see here. And then we're just going to move that in. This is a wild character. Really wild character. We're just going to, oh yeah, there you go. It's like he's got this, when Stan was designing him, I guess, he's got this really crazy, almost like his brain is coming out the top of his head. Reminds me of a Frazetta painting I really like, come to think of it. That's got that kind of vibe to it. Let me see here. Oh, that's fun. Look at that. That's something. I tell you, every time I'm going to do these streams, I may have to force myself to do them, but just in terms of, again, I think I was telling you guys at the top of this thing that the reason why, unfortunately, a lot of art school teachers don't do demos is either one, they actually don't even know how to paint, or two, you always run the risk of things going completely sideways. But the thing that also makes them so fun is that they're really help people to learn more than anything else. They're really one of the most effective teaching tools, or the most effective teaching tool is the demo. If you're in art school and your teachers don't do demos for you about like how you do things, then you're not learning as much as you could. And that is a big, big problem that we see happening is that education in general, art education in particular, has gotten so much more about talking, and it is a hand skill, it is a craft, it is a muscle memory thing. It is not an intellectual thing. So it's not about your witty argument. It's about your masterful application of media and to create something that provokes an aesthetic response. By the way, I just said all that while mixing color and painting. Thank you very much. So make sure you like this stream if you haven't yet. Every little bit of encouragement helps the old man. You know how it goes. I envy those who enjoyed Superman. I haven't seen it yet, and I just can't get there. I've been watching movies and checking out movies a little bit, and I have some opinions, but I'm not the superhero stuff, but I have some opinions based on that. But it's rare I'm going to the movie theater and seeing something that really gets me these days, and that is what it is, I guess, as we say. Oh, that's kind of cool. See, I want to break. I don't know if this is going to be the most accurate version of this because I want to break rules. I keep finding myself looking at the reference and going, I don't want to do that. I love the character, but I want to do something that is a little bit crazier and let the colors look at that. Like the colors are just they're doing their thing. It's hard to. Oh, you know what? I just realized something. Hang on a second. I'm gonna turn the light down because this light has a diffuser on it, but the problem I run into is it blows out the glare, the reflection. So I want to just let you guys see a little bit more of the painting and not have it be too contrasty. So hopefully that helps you guys see what I'm doing a little bit more. And then just like let that stuff kind of go around. And the same thing goes here. Got a little eyelid in the shadow. And then right here, that eyeball smaller because I need to have room for the eyelid in there. See how we're not worried about if we make the eye, too big or whatever, because we're very much, it's an additive and subtractive process. I'm not trying to do everything in one direction and then it's a mistake, because that's not how painting should work. I mean, if you're a masterful painter, you just go in and you just paint that whole thing straight through. But you don't want to be thinking about painting over stuff. You want to be painting into stuff and moving things around, so that when you go in and you try to put in those highlights and those glares. And I'm using the paper towel to get my brush, get rid of paint on my brush so that I can let the ground mix into it. Like that. Look at that. And look at how that starts to really look creepy. What's up, Grey Wolf? How are you doing, channel member? Good to see you, man. Let me see here. Or immigrant, rather. There you go. Me or you? Let me see her both. Hilarious thought. DC copied Doc Savage's Fortress of Solitude. Yes, indeed. And you know what Doc Savage's first name is, right? A Man Called Plush. That was the thing that blew my mind. That really blew my mind when I learned that. I was like, are you kidding me? Yeah, his first name is Clark. Clark Savage is Doc Savage's first name. So not only does he have a Fortress of Solitude, not only is he the Man of Tomorrow. Yep, I knew you'd get it, Plush. I'm giving you credit for that because I know there's a lag. But yeah, and you have to type it too. But yeah, Clark Savage. Think about that for a minute, guys. So yeah, all of the stuff that you see right now was done in the pulps, and that's that is stuff that I really had brought to my attention by Razorfist, because he has a really great Embrace Pulp video that I saw that had a huge impact, because I had grown up loving Rocketeer and I loved aspects of the Shadow and I loved old serials, but I hadn't really put together how they all interconnected. And when I saw that video, I was like, damn, that is really, really helpful for me to understand things. And of course, that led to my I had tried Robert E. Howard before and his work before, but Conan wasn't doing it for me, and I had never tried not Doc Savage. I'd never tried Solomon Kane, and I just read Solomon Kane and fell in love with it. So Solomon Kane is probably my favorite pulp character right now. I just think there's look at that, isn't that fun? How that's coming together. Let me see here. Okay, guys, I gotta fix something that's an ongoing problem here. Where is it? A couple of things that are an ongoing problem. There are many when it comes to me. My glasses keep falling. And so I'm going to put on these handy anti-slide things onto the back of my glasses, so I can hopefully stop that from happening. Oh, there you go. Because when my glasses slide, everything goes out of focus. And as you guys know, that can be a little bit headache inducing. So let's see if I've got these in, and then my headphones. I've got a little too much going on right now with these ears. They're not meant to hold my entire everything I own. All right, and Tammy is back. It's good to see you, Tammy. Let me see here. I love that he was a devout man of God. Yeah, I mean that was sort of the thing where there were two characters that people told me I had to check out at some point during the whole once they saw Nosferatu and they heard what I was trying to do with it. And one of them was Solomon Kane. People said, have you read Solomon Kane? And I go, really? Do you think I'd like it? Which is funny to think of now. And then the other was Kronos Vampire Hunter. And Kronos Vampire Hunter is a Hammer horror film. Not the greatest Hammer horror film. It's not the worst either. But it's got a very cool concept. I don't know if it quite came together, but I find it utterly charming. But it turns out that the writer-director of Captain Kronos actually was responsible for the script of my favorite Ray Harryhausen movie, which the poster behind me, The Golden Voyage of Sinbad. And so he, it's amazing how people can say, hey, check this out, without knowing that something about you, and then it leads you to a bunch of stuff. that is I don't know how to describe it. It's just like, oh my gosh, how did I not know about this? And you almost don't need to know everything about a person if you have that ability to make really good recommendations. And there's a lot of great recommendations that happen in these streams and in the chat. Yeah, it's great. We've got 72 people watching, 27 likes on YouTube. If you have not swung by YouTube to drop a like, please do so. If you're on X, I say hello to you. I hope you guys are doing well. So there you go. Okay, there we go. Now let me see if I can get a non-glare on that. There we go. Now it's coming together. All right. Oh, that's fun. Look at that. Yeah, paint. Paint is not the enemy in terms of when you're working. If it feels like the enemy, focus on the way that the paint feels, which is if it's dragging, if it's not mixing, try breathing. I find a lot of people struggle with that one, and just go back to the palette and make the paint fun on the palette, and it will be much more fun on the canvas panel. This is so fun to do. Yeah, a lot of the things I'm painting these days that are just for for streams, it's the first time I've ever really painted them. So I've never really done. I don't think I'd ever done an actual Batman painting before the one I did last week on CG Kings. That was a new one for me. That what a creepy creature this thing is. See if I can get a focus on this here. There we go. You guys can sort of see how it's coming together. And then the biggest trick with these cameras I'm learning, is to kind of try to keep them from getting too contrasty, because they always are going to make things really contrasty. Oh, you know what? That's a good idea. Let me go here. Go to Sean's iPhone camera. Let me see what the gamma is set at. Okay, there you go. There's a little adjustment that's a little bit truer to what you're seeing. So that right there is a little bit closer. Not really. He was an English privateer. He never reached America. Spent a lot of time killing monsters in Africa. There you go. That Batman. Oh, thank you. God, jeez, Lawrence. Thank you, man. I had to brace myself for that compliment. I didn't know it was coming. Gosh, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Let me see here. All right. Okay, so now let me get a little bit more black. And that's the fun thing about this is, pull this desk closer to me. Pull my chair a little closer here so I can rest my shoulder. Ah, there you go. I don't know if you guys heard that, but that is the sound of relief. All right, so let me see here. Okay, good. You guys have a good view, and I have a good view. So yeah, we've been getting really excited about the holidays, Halloween, but fall up here in New England. You start seeing those turkeys. Guys, be careful, okay? Turkeys, if you have a turkey in your area, don't go up and try to make friends with it, okay? That's a terrible thing to learn. You don't need that on your conscience, or on your tombstone for that matter, because turkey will attack if they feel threatened. They are essentially the peacock of America, which people haven't figured out yet, that the male turkey has the same kind of plumage as a peacock has. Oh, Ethiopian lore. Very cool. Let me see here. Oh, it just slid. That's rad. I'm conceptualizing a were hyena. Oh, hero. Very cool. Yeah, you know what's interesting is, oh, thank you so much, Tammy. You know what's interesting is that I was watching a movie that had some great Crash McCreary character design in it, which was M. Night Shyamalan's Lady in the Water, which I say this with love. I don't want to start anything with all of you Philly people. I know a few. He is a person of Philadelphia. Good folk. but that movie is so difficult to watch. It really is, and he has movies because I know it's chic to say, oh, the guy's blah blah. That guy has some great movies. The Sixth Sense is still one of my favorite movies. It's incredible that he did it at 29. Just a really great film. I actually really love The Village. I've come to appreciate it a lot more as time has gone on, and it's influenced by a painter that I rather like, Andrew Wyeth. Influenced what Roger Deakins did with the cinematography on that. But Lady in the Water is a tough watch, but it has some really cool characters in it. Really nice stuff. And one of the things I thought was great is Crash McCreary was talking about how when they were designing the wolf-like creatures in it that have grass on their backs. For those of you guys who remember that movie and those characters, and he said that they looked at African dogs, African wild dogs, and if you don't know, they have this crazy spine. Like and they have this mohawk that runs down their back. They're incredible. Oh, they're not only I think it was either African dogs or a hyena that were used to be the werewolves in Nosferatu. I'm almost positive that's the case in Nosferatu. They used hyena or African dogs as werewolves that are running alongside that you see out the window. So yeah, there's a big tradition of using things like armadillo in the original 1931 Dracula adaptation with Bela Lugosi. They would just grab random animals. They'd use possum and those things to make it look more creepy inside the castle. But I've always loved that aspect of the like. There's this random armadillo inside of Dracula's castle. I see. This is the thing. The more I think about what I'm doing, the more difficult it can be sometimes. And then just if I'm talking to you guys and painting and not thinking about it, everything gets right. Everything is right in the world. Oh, man, my allergies are driving me crazy, guys. Apologies for the my breathing difficulty sounds here. Oh, look at that! Isn't that cool? The paint, not the not the painting. I'm always fascinated by how using two colors, just that simple little technique of using two complementary colors, helps a painting to stay together, and and just gives it this kind of harmony that's hard to come by when you start just randomly mixing a ton of colors together. So I wanted to have that earth tone I have right there. Look at that. That's fun. Bring that around. Moving that over there. Do you see what I mean? Just going to bring that stuff together and then just let it, oh man, let it do whatever it's going to do. Sometimes I think that's just such an important thing to remember. The paint is doing something and it's not exactly where you thought it should go, but it's where it should go. Let it do it. Got to keep that door open to the process, and not have it. Don't turn yourself into an automaton when you're painting so that you can just start to put together some really crazy, creepy stuff. What's up, John? How are you doing? It's good to see you. Rocky has a Discord server. Heavens to Betsy. When did he get so young and hip? Let me see here. There's also a claim that the Beast of, gosh darn it, Timmy Mello, you've got like way too much of an education for me, man. Gavudon was, and I probably pronounce it horribly, was an imported special breed of hyena that ran wild. Whoa. Very, very cool. Dang, guys, bringing the knowledge up in here. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know how that whole Discord thing works. I've never been on Discord. And yeah, I can only handle so much. It's like I've got Instagram, I've got X, and I've got which Instagram I started before when I was first crowdfunding my books. That's where my first fan following kind of came out of, the unexpected reception to my work on Instagram back when before Facebook bought it. So a while ago, and yeah, it's I think I'm all nude out on different tech. Ooh, there we go. That's starting to come together. So now that I've got that happening, here's a really fun thing I like to do. I'm going to grab some black here, a bit of blue, some more black, a bit of orange, and I'm just going to bring this back down to a base value that matches the shadows that are happening on the other side, and then bring that over here. There we go. Just to give it a little bit more harmony as it comes together. And I'm going to do that now all the way. Let me get myself in a better position there. All the way down this side here. So I'm going to take this, bring this around. Bring that around. There we go. That around. And let's see. Turn it upside down so I can get a better look at it. There you go. You can kind of see how it's coming together. All right, so now, oh man, feeling it. Feeling it. All right, so now I'm going to go in and put in some dark right around the teeth here because I want to make sure, and it's weird because he's got these kind of big gums that come up like that. So I want to make sure I leave a little bit of room for those. They kind of they're what accentuates his snarl, which is really creepy, that snarl he's got. So I'll grab a little bit of this just to give that line there so that people can see where the lips, if you'd call them that. I mean, if I saw this thing in the woods, I don't know if I'd be thinking it was anything, shared anything in common with me. But yeah, whatever this part of it is, because it is sort of like a plant thing. There we go. Bring those around. There we go. Okay, that's starting to come together. What's up, K-Pop Junkie? How are you doing? I send you a hearty Gemin and a side of RM. I hope you're well. Cecil Ree, how are you doing, Cecil Ree? I love seeing Captain Kirk there. That's great. Yes, indeed. Hit the like button, guys. Everybody is welcome. Random Randerson, I've never heard of non-wild hyenas. Yeah, I know. Isn't that fascinating? Well, it took me a while to, or it took me a while, but it fascinated me to learn of this indigenous tribe of Siberia, if I'm not mistaken, that has, what's it called? Domesticated, if I'm not mistaken, domesticated the reindeer to the, like, they basically domesticated reindeer, and that's sort of responsible for how they, their whole society was built. What's up, Krabby Patty? How are you doing, guys? All right, let me see here. I'm going to take some arthritis medicine. I think that's my plan next. And then I'm going to play some trailers real quick while I do that, guys. So if you haven't hit like yet, make sure you hit like. Here's some trailers just to remind you what we're up to here. So I'll be right back with some more painting once I have some have some pain relief. Here you go. All right, I'm back. That feels a little better. We'll see if we can get this shoulder going. So here we are. So, man, I tell you what, I'm starting to see it, folks. I'm starting to see it. All right, so now that I've got him here, what else do I want to do with this guy? So I want to make sure that I get that eye to set back in there. So that's a big concern of mine, is to make sure that I get that together. So let me go in, grab some black right there, and here's some free painting advice. There's gonna be a ton of that here from your Uncle Shanth here, which is when it comes to painting, one of the worst bits of advice or canned advice that people give painting students is don't use black. There's a lot of reasons why that's a problem. The biggest reason why that's a problem is because why on earth would you take something that was an essential part of Anders Zorn's palette off of your, out of your toolkit? The other problem with that is people never learn how to use it properly. And it is a color. So it's something that you have to understand and you have to know how to use. And so you get a lot of students who don't know how to incorporate it as a color. They see it as something that you use to kind of, I don't know, just hit it purely as itself. So it's not even a part of their palette. Whereas if you use black and you mix it into yellow ochre, you get a color because black is a color. If you mix black into a blue, you get a color depending on what kind of black you're using. So if you treat it like a color and you understand it as an essential part of your palette, you're going to be a lot better off as an artist, and I think that that's it's a silly bit of advice to give people. The other thing too is if your color is not working in a painting, if you ever feel like, hey, my painting color isn't working, 9 times out of 10, the problem is a problem of value. So it's probably because your lights and darks aren't there. And so you put those two things together, and it explains why you see some student work and a lot of student work that's hard to read. It's because it has value problems and they're not using black. And black is a very useful color for solving value problems, just like white is a very useful color for solving value problems. But you don't want to do is to get rid of either one of those colors as a matter of course. It's fun as an exercise, but I think that there's a lot of fun intellectual exercises we do in education these days, or certain people do in education, um, that don't really take you anywhere productive, if that makes sense. And so I can't overstate that. Yep, color and value. Indeed, Catalyst Vault. Indeed. It is good to have you here. Apex Comics still hanging out. Okay, MMO, sweet, thank you. Yes, indeed. Sent a friend ad request on Discord. There you go. Look at this. Look at all of you folks working together. I almost went into a Gary Oldman there. Look at all these little things. So busy now. Notice how each one is useful. All right. If you haven't seen Fifth Element, you're missing out, or not. Depends on what your tastes are. There we go. Just reasserting that silhouette that's on that side a little bit more. And just not adding any more paint onto the brush, just letting it kind of run out of paint. There you go. And it starts to kind of appear right there. And that's what makes all this stuff so fun. All right, so let me see here. I'm going to grab blue, because this is very much one of my things I love to do. Is I'm just going to give myself, make sure I'm on camera, because oftentimes that's what I forget. Just give myself a fun little edge right there. There you go. And I'm going to let that, as it does in the character, kind of just break in a little bit like that. Just right into the side there. What a creepy character design this is, too, by the way. My hat's off to the late, great Stan Winston, everybody at Legacy Effects, who I know is carrying on his legacy. His son, who I saw in a documentary. Very, very impressive. Yeah, this handsome fellow I'm painting is the one and the only Pumpkinhead, designed by Stan Winston Studios, directed by Stan Winston himself. Yeah, great stuff. Nothing but love for Stan Winston. If you don't know the name, you know his work. He did the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. Just incredible stuff, man. Shot the money pit. Shot this up. Yes, right. Oh my God, you're killing me. Oh, Mark, that's hilarious. Yeah, you don't. Yeah, when you're painting, you just want to apply the paint in as graceful of a fashion as you can. That's big. Yeah, designer for the Predator and Terminator. You can't say it any fairer than that, Alpha Channel. I mean, again, what a legacy Stan Winston has left behind. All of those artists. So when I sit down to work on Nosfero, and that the link for that is in the description. It's going to be closing this October. The books, I'm going to be reaching out to the printer as I was saying before, but I added a ton of new content. I basically went in and I realized that I had stuff that I have never shown before, and I can even show you guys some of that stuff here. Um, Actually, can I? Because of the there's not always clothes on these. There's always clothes on these figures. So, but I found a lot of bonus features and layout sketches for pages I'd forgotten I'd had that I had scanned or photographed. A lot of really cool process stuff. So look at that. Now I'm going to take that blue. I go in right here. Drop that down on this side here. A little bit more there. But yeah, I found some just incredibly cool layout pages I had not scanned before from the first Nosfero that are now in the art edition, and I found some and I made some new artwork for book 2, Nosfero Death Will Die, some new sketches and some new layouts that are going to be in the oxidized edition. So whatever edition, and if you get both, you're going to get new bonus features in both of them. So I'm not a single version of Nosfero. The oxidized, the art, and the first printing have the same bonus features in them. So you've got something exclusive. And now the oxidized edition has something I never even thought I was going to have, which is a brand new cover. Hey, what's up, Christopher Bouchard? How are you doing, man? Good to see you. Hope you are well. My wife had an obnoxious coworker years ago who got her hair messed up at a beauty parlor. Oof. And it turned out bright orange. Everyone called her Pumpkinhead. Oh my God. Oh, Lord. That's rough. It's even rougher when you know they're right. I mean, that's a tough one. That's a tough one, isn't it? Yeah, it's so funny, right? So I'm living in the heart of Lovecraft country, as you guys know, from the heart of Lovecraft country, the birth of American religious liberty. That's what SHANTH ENJETI art is coming to you live from. And so there's so many traditions here that we really didn't have as much growing up in the South, and I'm sure that Mrs. Enjetti didn't have growing up in Texas nearly as much. But there are things that happen in the fall, besides the beautiful fall colors, which are just incredible up here. But one of those things is things like apple picking, which I never thought I'd do before. What's up, channel member Headless Bourgeoisie? It's great to see you, my friend. How are you? And I just love the fact that the country was founded up here. That Lexington and Concord are within driving distance. The Paul Revere's house is nearby. It's a couple hours away. I mean, there's so much history of America, and I love this country, and I love its history. Love its Constitution as well, which I was actually refreshing myself on this week as a tribute to you guys know. I don't have to tell you. And the thing about this stuff is there's so much in the Northeast of America. That's where the country was founded. Things like the legend of Sleepy Hollow, things like some of our traditions that we carry through. So for me to go, for a walk with my wife and pass, wild turkey, I love that. That puts me, I don't know, that puts me in a very good mood, if that makes sense. It puts me in a really good mood. And yeah, still, still live. Yeah, oh yeah. I may have bitten off more than I can chew with this one, but that's all right. You know what? If this is where I'm supposed to be right now, then I'm gonna be here. That's how I view this stuff. I used to say that to my students back when I was teaching, when they were, when I had like 90 miles on the road to get back home. And when I on the occasions where you find yourself talking to a student who is really putting in work, really putting in time, and is very appreciative of your time, whenever they would say, Oh man, you gotta hit the road. You can't continue talking to me. And I'd always say this is exactly where I'm supposed to be right now, and that's how I view it. Past Master Dan, what's up, brother? It's good to see you. How you been? Oh my lord, guys. So here, let me prop this up so you guys can see it. And I'm gonna blow my nose, so I apologize in advance. But my allergies is driving me crazy. Actually, I'll play you guys another trailer while I blow my nose. Here you go.
If fighting was a god, I would worship him. I would bow to him. I would pray for victory. For he only grants opportunities. But behind every god lurks a devil. And the devil wants me to take a dive. My name is Annatomic. And this is how my legend was made.
Whoa, there we go, guys. Check it out. Anatomic by the great Shane Davis. The incredible Shane Davis. Oh my gosh, there's something so funny. All right. Can you guys keep a secret? All right. Can you guys shh. Can you guys keep a secret? Give me some ones in the chat if you can keep a secret. This is just between us, okay? No one is going to hear about this. All right? Nobody's going to hear about this. Can you keep a secret? I need to see some I need to see some ones in the chat because that's how I roll, okay? I'll let you know if I think anybody deserves this to be let in on this very precious secret, okay? But it is a secret. It is a true, according to Hoyle, secret, okay? I can't overstate this. And I need to know that we're all down, okay? We're all down to keep a secret. I'm going to put a link to a YouTube video in the chat here, okay? To a nice gal from Mississippi who's trying to raise a little bit of money for a charity, okay? Now, here's the crazy part. There are a lot of people who, as I always say, who have said to me in the past, not you guys, not you fine people, who wonder what motivates me to do things for strangers. If you've met me, chances are I've thought about you and something I could do to help. That's just how I am. Like, that's just how I am with almost everybody, right? So there's this wonderful, kind woman trying to raise money for she worked with she's a marine life scientist and a biologist, and she's lives in Mississippi. She's worked for pretty much everybody and done a lot of research, and she is doing research right now and trying to buy some property that has a big pond on it where she does work with beavers. Okay, here's the secret. And just really seems like a really good person. Yep, she's a waterbender. Well, that right there is a video that I made for her to help her raise money for her charity. Go ahead and check the description. But if you click on that, just you can open it in another window and then come back to it later. But check it out. I thought you guys would find it interesting to see some of the stuff I do outside of it because there's a chance every single day when we get up, right, to do something for other people, something that'll bring a little bit of positivity, help somebody, who's trying to do something good. This woman, let me brag about her for a minute, right? Let me brag about her for a minute. And I mean, I can't even look at the video. I can, but it's tough. She had a dog show up. She said sometimes the animals that you rescue, and she rescues and studies orphaned beavers. So these things come to her as babies, basically, and sometimes they're very, very sick. And she's worked at SeaWorld, Epcot, did a huge walrus study in Alaska, believe it or not, with the indigenous people there. She's incredible mechanoid. She's just great. But she had a large black poodle, male poodle, show up at her house that was so emaciated. She had to she couldn't even give it food initially because she was worried it was going to have a heart attack. For those of you guys who take care of animals and know that kind of thing. And she nursed this dog. It's not like she doesn't have enough on her plate. She nursed this dog back to health. And when you see people who do things like that, my attitude is, all right, if I can help you, I will. But a really kind, amazing person who I find really inspiring in terms of her dedication. And she's just trying to buy some real estate right now so that she can expand what she's doing. Maybe it won't work out, but yeah, Lord Hinson, I was thinking the same thing. The reason I want to share this with you guys is because I know that so many comic skaters are into beavers. You know what I'm saying? A lot of support here. It seems like an untapped audience, but this is the fun part about it, right? You reach how people go, how did you, actually, I don't know if people have asked me this a lot. How did you reach out? How did you meet Ethan Van Sciver, right? You're an artist, you're working in academia. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, you got to know what you're doing. You're right, Krabby Patty. People don't understand that kind of thing. If you and the thing that's even tougher than that is if you put a dog that's starving in front of food, it can't stop itself. And so you have to really be patient. It takes a loving person to take care of both sick people, sick anything, sick life that is uh on the brink. And those kinds of people, I know some of you guys are dog lovers and pet lovers, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. But you can learn. I think you can learn a lot about people by how they interact with that kind of thing. And so she was just really impressed me with her work, her kindness, and taking care of things that are not not able to take care of themselves, and or particularly orphan beavers. Which guys, if you've ever had young kids, beavers make the exact same sound as a crying or cute sound as a baby, and it's the same thing. It's bottle feeding all night. It's just a wild thing, you know. And I know a lot of you guys take care of dogs and have rescued animals and things like that, and I appreciate you. I mean, that's what you guys are doing here. You're rescuing me, and so that's something. But anyway, I thought you guys would find that really funny, or not even funny, just interesting, But yeah, it's not a performance, as you guys know. The folks around these parts. Now watch this happen. Watch this happen. Now I'm going to show you what happens when I take a little bit of orange and wash it over this ground that I have very carefully kept blue. Not to let too much orange get into it. It's sort of like when you're watching the movie Braveheart, and the British are charging, at the Scottish lineup, and they're like waiting to spring their trap, and they're like, hold, hold. That's how it is with color. Hold your complementary color for as long as you can. Hold it back. And then when you add it, it's going to give you, let's see if I can get a good angle here. It's going to give you magic. It's just going to come to life. And that is really the magic of painting. And that is why when we paint horror here, it's really, the horror of painting is really going to be the fun of painting. Look at how that starts to come out. Isn't that crazy how that works? I mean, it just comes alive right there, then and there. It's one of the really fun things about this stuff. And whether I'm doing a commission for somebody, when I have a job, when I'm doing all of this stuff, everything is about giving people something beautiful in their home, in their space where they work, and art really does make, and I don't just mean Art T-Bear. He makes people happy as well. But art makes people have that aesthetic experience of, just feeling alive and feeling inspired if you do it right. And I think that it's also really good for the soul, much like going out for a walk or anything else. When you learn how to use the media correctly, because it becomes less of a source of fear and more of a source of fun. And using your hands to do things and to make work or to clean or do woodworking or whatever it is, fix something around the house, paint a room. Whenever people are feeling depressed or down or isolated or hopeless about the state of the world, I always say, get moving and get, that inspiration into your ears from whatever source you can get it from. And also then get your hand moving, take a walk. It's the first thing they'll tell you whenever you're having a really tough time. They'll say, get yourself up and get yourself moving. It is so hard to do, but you instantly start to feel better. Instantly start to feel better. And that's such an important part for us as human beings, is to make sure that we're doing things. And then I can just differentiate that head from that shadow and that shoulder that's back there. Oh, look at that. That's so fun. I've never painted this before. This is actually really fun. It's fun to do things you've never done before in terms of subjects when you're painting and everything else in conversations. But it's too fun. Has Shanth just revealed what this painting is of? Yes, this is Pumpkinhead, my friend. This is Pumpkinhead. So I watched that movie on VHS, I'm pretty sure, with friends when I was younger. So I don't know if I ever even recall the whole movie. But I just always thought that box cover art for Pumpkinhead was so cool, and it would be a fun thing to try to paint, having no idea where this is going. None. Good, bad, or different. And it's turned out to be a very complicated painting. But I want to show you guys the process. Show you how it works, how it comes together. Show you how I put my hand right through the paint all the time. Look at that. Isn't that fun? Gosh, I was so terrified of painting. I was terrified of painting. I was terrified of using color like crayons and things like that when I was a kid. And I almost can't believe it now, but please believe me that that is true. If you ever have said to yourself, "Oh, I'll never be able to do that. I'll never be able to try to do that." You would not find a person who was more nervous about painting and using color in their artwork than me. I did pencil drawings and teachers would go, okay, now color it in. And I remember I looked at some art teacher, I think her name was Mrs. Phillips, if I'm not mistaken. And I told her, I said, why? So I can ruin it? And she's like, it has to be in color. That's the homework. And I just watched myself destroy the thing. It's so rough, man. It's rough, but there's no reason for people to be intimidated by this stuff if you get introduced to it the right way. So as you can tell in the description, if you guys are, I'm going to walk you through the whole process in this video. If you're catching it late, it's here. It's going to be here. But the colors and the materials that I'm using are in the description of this video. So you don't have to worry about, well, what do I use? What do I get if I want to try this out? I'm only using orange and a very particular orange, which is in the description, and a very particular type of paint. I'm using orange, black, and white. That is 4 tubes of paint. And it's better to start with 4 tubes of quality paint than to start with like 10 or 20 tubes and trying to paint something and making a big mess of the wrong kind of paint or bad paint. Like Acrylic Basics by Liquitex are just diabolical. They're just, oh man, look at that. Look at that little detail line happening right there. Check that out. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, you know what's funny, Mark, is that it was a movie that I don't want to say it fell between the cracks, but it's sort of a cult classic now, and I hadn't seen it until until recently, and I was shocked because a lot my heroes in this world, I have many heroes in this world, but when it comes to the art world, some of my biggest heroes, because I'm a movie fanatic, are conservationists and film preservationists, people who restore old movies, because it makes me sad to think of losing that bit of Western culture, the cinema tradition that's so rich here in our culture. And so looking at that 1916, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which we are definitely going to do as our next Pizza Live, but I have family coming in, so I'm trying to figure out what day we could do that on. Sorry, I'm blocking this, guys. Apologies. Sometimes I get into it so much I forget I have to hold it in a weird way so you guys can make sure you guys see it. You see how that starts to come together? This is only 4 colors, guys. 4 colors. Isn't that so fun? You know? Yeah, I don't know how many Pumpkinhead movies were there? You're right. I do think there was a sequel of some sort, wasn't there? I seem to remember that. I hear you guys saying it in the chat, and I'm thinking, hey, I think there was one, wasn't there? There we go. What a cool character this is. Didn't they do a great job designing this thing? I mean, this painting probably is not doing the best service to it, but man, it's cool because we get to spend time with each other during these streams. And I get to spend time with you guys, but I also get to spend time with artists, writers, whatever books come up in discussion. And that's really what the lifeblood of learning should be. And I really am one of those folks who thinks that what education was in the past and can be again is really something that we should try to bring back. And if it has to happen, for me at least, passing on some of this stuff here on YouTube, then so be it. But it has to happen. There have to be places where people can pick up, skills like this. Didn't Pumpkinhead come out before Alien? I think it was after D Handy 1984, but don't quote me on that. Look that up for me, by the way, if you'd be so kind, because I would love to check that out. I actually don't know. I just know Stan Winston did them both, and I want to say Pumpkinhead came out afterwards because I want to say that I think working with James Cameron on Alien was sort of what bit him with the directing bug. So Alien came out in 1979, says Mark's Music Obsession. And then Aliens. What year was Aliens? I think after 2, Shanth. All right, there you guys go. After 2 from Tammy, and that looks like what I would imagine the creature from Pickman's model. Wow, the creature from the painting in Pickman's model. Very nicely done. Yeah, 1989 Pumpkinhead. So just before the 90s. I thought I was told by someone the monster design inspired the Xenomorph. Yeah, the Xenomorph was actually inspired by the work of H.R. Geiger, is how I pronounce it. I think I heard someone say that he pronounced it Giger. The reason being, he's a German, but it's a Swiss or Swedish name. It was really interesting. I remember thinking, wow, that's wild. So it's like, I'm an American, born in Texas, and I have an Indian name. So when someone asks, like, how are you supposed to pronounce your name? I go Shanth, which is, close to how it would be pronounced correctly. But I'm an American, so I pronounced it like an American. So it's Shanth. It's Sean with a TH on it, basically. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool how people, that's one of the cooler things. There's many cool things, but one of the great things about this country is, hold on a second. And apologies to any of our friends across the pond, but one of the best things about America is that we don't have British food. You know what's true. Even British people know it's true. Chokeout and I were talking about that. The official food of Britain seems to be Indian food, man. They get that. They eat Indian food like we eat Chinese and Mexican food over here, man. But it's one of the great things about being here is it's so many interesting myths and lore and legends, and then the legends and lore of the land itself reside here and infuse what we do. And it's the great thing about thinking about people. No beans and toast is right, K-pop. Just pronounced heavily with the emphasis in on the vowels. Yeah, and here's something that I also think is really cool. Yeah, Scandinavian food. There you go. Is the same as British. Really, they can't. Oh boy, that's rough. Because I tell you what, the Scandinavian landscape, country, and a lot of the stuff I've seen of people taking trips there, especially Rick Steves, as you guys know, is he goes everywhere. It looks like an incredible place. It really does. And of course, I'm fascinated by Viking lore and all of that stuff, and did a lot of research when I was doing concept stuff for the dragons for How to Train Your Dragon. I just got deep dived in or deep dove into deep dived, God help me, into Viking lore and all of that kind of stuff because I was fascinated by it. Same thing with Egyptology. Those are things. Oh my gosh, a super. Of course, I I should just assume now. Every now and again, thank you, Leg Kick One, for earlier, by the way, that a super chat from Nomad Damon is going to be here. Nomad Damon, I am in the thick of it with this painting. It is great to see you, brother. How are you doing? Thank you for the $5 super chat. And again, folks, we don't know who this person is in this cheerleader video. Okay, we don't know. But if you have any leads on this silhouette, do let us know. We're trying to catch this guy.
Charge!
There you go. Thank you so much, Nomad Damon, for that. Appreciate it very much. And yeah, oh my gosh, it's great to have you here. So yeah, so I'm painting some Pumpkinhead here. But yeah, Scandinavia has always struck me as just incredibly a beautiful part of the world. Really just the landscape and everything is great. Of course, I'm a fourth Austrian, so I did spend some time. Took a couple of trips to Austria. My family is was out of Linz. My uncle Franz, I'm not kidding, was the manager of the Linz Lask in Linz, Austria. So he was the manager for a number of years before he passed away. We're going probably back to the 90s at this point. And so I used to have a little Linz Lask little jersey. He had the team sign a soccer ball for me. And I got to go to one of the Linz Lask games, which was a lot of fun. And all the players were really nice, of course, because I was a kid. You know, nobody stole my hat or anything like that. What's up, Caleb Reynolds? How are you doing? What is up? Yeah, the villain is known. Whoops, it just jumped. Known as Rob Boss. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's who it is. It's Sean. I know. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, it's there's so many amazing books and so many amazing feats of creativity, like the American film industry, that came from people from all over coming together and to a place where they could make their work. And in a lot of ways, I think that's one of the most beautiful things about Comicsgate and everything we're doing here is that I can speak from experience, and people are sort of waking up to this right now. That from the moment I went off to college, and listen, folks, I'm going to say a year. I don't need to know when you were born. Those of us who are older in the chat don't need to hear when you were born to feel any older than we do now. But I went off to college in 1994, and from then until I left academia, I felt like I was very much on an island. I felt as though the stuff I was doing, I had to do against what I was required to do, which is to say, comics and everything was. Even my comic book teacher was against superhero comics and anything even remotely mainstream. And so it was this sort of battle to get the ideas out there and to get the things I wanted to do out there. And I can tell you, when I really thought, I think the last place I taught, I thought that there was a chance to really change things in education. And it was really, really heartbreaking to realize that no matter what you do, um, that's positive by applying things like teaching the things you need to be successful in commercial art, presenting case studies, and all of that kind of stuff, no matter what you do, the forces of fine arts and non-representationalism, anti-skill, and conceptualism will take the fruits of your labor and rob you of them, and then continue to push that agenda of de-skilling. And it's they're paying the price for it now, just in terms of enrollment and everything else. But it's so frustrating. So you have to have some autonomy. And that's why it's insanely beautiful. Shanth have been all over Europe and Scandinavia and the UK. I want to take Mrs. Enjeti to Scandinavia because it's the land of knitting. My youngest son was in the army. My glasses just fell, sorry. My youngest son was in the army and got to go visit the eagle's nest near, oh my gosh, I can't pronounce that, but I know it. One can see for miles from up there. That is incredible. Is it the bird? Berchtesgaden? Is that it? I'm pronouncing it wrong. I apologize. Berchtesgaden? Gaden? Shoot, that's gonna annoy me. Sorry, guys. Sorry for murdering that. Let's see here. No, I'm not from Scandinavia. I'm pretty much here my whole life. There you go. Yeah, and it's this is the whole aspect of how we sort of got here. Um, it's a game of misdirection, and I don't mean in a way that people do. It's not even a conspiracy theory. It's like when people lay out their strategy, believe them. But it's how do you have folks um who are resentful for other people's success in a fun and let me not say success because success is even a weirder one. Other people's competency. Like it's so strange. We all depend on the competency of people in fields in which we have no expertise. We all depend on that. It's the equivalent of cutting off your nose to spite your face. So they see folks who are engaging or inspiring to an audience in the arts, and they come in there and it bothers them that they cannot do the same thing. Say whatever you want to say about Bob Ross and his artwork. The fact that he wasn't painting the greatest landscape paintings by their estimation doesn't matter because they couldn't paint the best landscapes either, and none of them, no one was painting these outstanding landscapes that were, from coming from his critiquers, right? What they hated about him is people liked him and he was accessible. And that's been a problem from that's just a human problem since the dawn of time. It doesn't need any, particular ideology to make it move or for it to exist, but it does need ideologies to weaponize it. And so the thing I always want people to be thinking about when we're making artwork, we're talking about this is that I think that anybody who wants to learn how to do anything I'm doing on this stream should be able to do so. I think that makes things fun. I'm going to do something really crazy with the color now. I'm going to add another color into it. So brace yourselves. I think people should be able to learn how to get good at the things they want to get good at and shouldn't be told, no, you shouldn't learn how to paint accurately. That's it. And there's people who are trying to stop that. And I think it was that moment when I realized that as a teacher, I wasn't telling students to hate fine art. And I thought that that's what people were afraid of. Uh, that wasn't the case. People who were teaching fine art hated me and hated commercial art. And no matter what they say, they hated competency at recreational painting, and it shows in who they hire, who they promote, and what they promote in terms of how we teach. And the problem with that is, and I'm adding alizarin crimson for those of you at home watching this who are interested. And that is going to hinder everything. And it's a normal thing for people to be impressed when they see somebody perform an incredible, athletic task, or they, do something exceptional. Not everybody can do something exceptional. So when somebody does, it's right for us to look at it and go, wow. I do that all the time. It's a really fun thing to do, is to see somebody do something that's incredible. But when you can't accept that, that's when you run into trouble. So look at that alizarin, how that's coming together. Got to get some of these paint chips that got stuck in there. It picked up along the way. There we go. And I love when people are successful at something. We've lost so many. I don't even want to get to into this topic, but we've lost some great communicators, obviously, and we've lost a lot of folks. But on top of all of that stuff, I was kind of, my wife looked over at me last night and goes, "Oh my gosh, Ricky Hatton just died." And I know, for those of you guys who follow boxing or don't follow boxing, Ricky Hatton is a big time British boxer, struggled with depression and other things, but he's sort of really, one of those people who is a man of the people, or was a man of the people in Britain. And I saw this stuff and I just thought, hopefully it doesn't, I hope he didn't lose his battle to his depression, but I just thought that, if we can't revel in what people do for us and we can't celebrate the lives of people who contribute so much. Um, it's that's a real tragedy. And so I'm always going to love to celebrate people like Stan Winston, who of course created this character and has brought so much to our culture with his work. God rest him. And I think it's right that we do, and I think it's right that we value Western civilization, and we value the teaching of skill, and we try to rededicate ourselves to making ourselves more effective at creating beauty and also telling stories that are aspirational and not narratives that are just deliberately designed to be nihilistic. When I say give nihilism no quarter nor accept any, um, the reason why I say that is it's an acknowledgement that nihilism is out there. Nihilism is everywhere, and nihilism is not something to be lackadaisical about or casual about, but it's absolutely not something that should ever be celebrated. And I will never, ever, ever see it as a virtue to go down that nihilistic road. It's just not the way to do things, even when doing monster stuff, even when doing this monster stuff. Yeah, negative emotions only corrode you from the inside out. Absolutely right. Oh, could not, but I didn't get the rest of it. My art teacher said, oh, I could not draw cartooning for assignments in college. Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous. I used to have students come to me and they would say things like, uh, oh gosh, what was it? They would tell me that they were interested in drawing manga stuff, and I would tell them things like, and again, apologies, but let me see here. Are you sure you got the right teeth? Oh, on this thing? No, not at all. But I'm working on them. Working on them. I'm gonna try to get them there. Oh my lord, yeah. Believe me, I was noticing that. Well, he's got more. There's more teeth here that I kind of knocked back, and then there's a whole row of teeth here that I need to get back in there. Oh my lord, yeah. But it's there's I used to one of the reasons why I think that my classes were always full when I was teaching was because there was so much incredible artwork to show people, and I was just showing it to them. I was going, "Have you seen this? Have you seen Bambi, concept stylist who kind of set the visual tone, Tyrus Wong and his incredible work he did on Bambi. Have you seen Mary Blair's incredible color work? Have you seen Bernie Wrightson's Frankenstein? Look at this stuff. Isn't this incredible? And that's what it's about. And funny enough, we're going to be talking about Bernie Wrightson. If you are a member of John Malin's channel, we're going to be talking about a Bernie Wrightson book, Creep Show, a comic book that he did with George Romero. And it's going to be really fun because we're looking forward to it, the spooky season. Let me see here. There we go. Look at that, how that's coming together. Dang, I have delivery coming in 8 minutes. Going to miss some of this. That's all right. I'm just going to keep it rolling and wrap it up as best as I can. Oh, do I have something in my teeth? Oh, I gotcha. I gotcha. There you go. What's up, zombie boy? How are you doing? Yeah, I'm going to get a little bit more done on this thing before, believe me, I got a little bit more to do. But yes, Mark, I'm going to have this posted. So for those of you guys who like to watch this stuff, and sometimes people like to watch stuff like this when they're going to sleep or they're just like chilling at night and they want to just watch painting. I watch Bob Ross all the time. So I thought it could be useful to show you guys kind of keep doing these start to finish-ish paintings on stream. I forgot and I guess it didn't occur to me what an incredibly complicated design this is. And especially when you haven't painted it before. That causes trouble. There we go. Now I've just got to get a little bit more blue and a little bit more black in there. Yeah, I don't want people to be afraid to learn how to paint. I think that's the thing that people are missing out on is just being, too terrified of painting and buying artwork too. That's another one too. I've got so many people who are in this space now who are buying original artwork, and it's wonderful because you're the only one who has it. That's what makes it so fun. Yeah, the fang-like teeth on the side. Yes. And you know what's weird is he's got that creepy combination that the aliens have. Funny enough, because we were just talking about Alien, of the baby teeth in certain parts and then the fangs in other parts. Man, is that creepy. Oh, congratulations, Zombie Boy. 6 pages left on your comic. Well done, my friend. That's great. Yeah, it's nice to watch you work and create magic. Oh, thank you, John. I do appreciate that. Yeah, canine teeth, 100%. Yeah, I mean it's. I used to look at that stuff, and there's a bunch of dreams that the missus and I were talking about that kids of a certain our generation probably had. At least boys, maybe just one of these, but or I don't know if girls had this particular one, but one of them was being a special effects artist. The other one was being a marine biologist. Those are the two things that I think a lot of people our generation dreamed of doing. And yeah, I used to look at special effects behind the scenes and the making of Michael Jackson's Thriller, which I know inspired a lot of people to get into special effects who were older. And that stuff that just really got me. Isn't that fun? Look at how crazy that is. Man, never painted this character before, but it's really interesting. I feel like kind of you get to know the character from painting it, if that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, gosh, when I used to go to SeaWorld when I was a kid, I was like, I want to be a marine biologist. Yeah, ooh, special effects art. Yeah, Timmy knows what I'm talking about. Let me see here. Let me move this over. The sea was angry that day. Indeed, indeed. Yes. Sean, did you ever, my glasses were falling here, watch, oh, yes, I did. William Alexander's painting show. Yeah, absolutely. My brother from another mother, Nick, has William Alexander art book. I think there's just one. So he has the gentleman who came before Bob Ross was German, I believe. So I knew that accent well from my household because a lot of people in my household spoke, or I should say, a lot of people on that side of my family spoke German fluently. And yeah, Bill Alexander, man, he was doing some amazingly cool stuff. He was the guy that Bob Ross kind of learned all that stuff, the painting technique from. And Bob took it in a completely, in his own way, of course, as Bob does. But it was crazy to think of that whole thing and that whole aspect of painting in front of people and teaching people how to paint. Really cool. I mean, that's something that's not lost on me. Is that the only way you could get let me see if I get this to work here. Oh, the police are coming. Look out, everybody. Let's see if it does its thing. Um, the 6 more pages, Zombie Boys comic to be complete. Very cool. Excellent, Apex Comics. Yes, indeed. Yeah, practical special effects are awesome, says John. Yeah, I mean, um, let me see if I can get that to work. There we go. Yeah, I mean, it's I remember thinking to myself when I was doing this kind of stuff that wow, like you had to be Bob Ross, you had to be get onto your local public broadcasting station, then you'd have to get picked up by other stations. Like it was so incredibly hard to get yourself out there before. And now you can just fire up, a video or a stream and you can get your show people how to paint from around the world. And that's just a cool aspect of where we are right now. Oh, that's going to be cool. I should have made that darker first though. Let me do that first. I'm going to lay down a nice dark base coat right there. That's fun. Let's just knock that back just a little bit. There you go. Now, with that, I can start to kind of like let that, all those little tendons and things that he's got in the neck right there, let those kind of happen. Look at that. There we go. Man, this is a creepy looking creature. Really fun. But I think I've got it on the run now. think I've got it on there. Let me move. Actually, do I have to move my camera? That's probably what I have to move. And nope, that made it out too far because I want you guys to see the palette just a little bit if I can. That's the hardest part about this, is getting the camera set up right. Let me see your Apex Comics 100-page Zombie Boy comic. My God, congratulations. Yeah, I will invite you on my live stream to promote your book. There you go, Zombie Boy. Check it out. One day I will get on Katie's channel to promote it. There you go. Yeah, Katie's doing some great work. Yeah, it was hilarious, John. Well, speaking of, did you see the comedian Dresky do white face? The Pain FX was amazing. That's terrifying. I did not see it. I did not see it. On a previous stream, Shanth, I believe you mentioned taking an anatomy class. Like, what did they teach you? Okay, so they did. When I took an anatomy class, I had one teacher who was really actually a solid teacher when it came to anatomy and actually taught us how to do things. And what we basically did is we had live models. They did give us handouts of the anatomy and the figure. But the problem was, as illustration students, the thing that a lot of us were struggling with is we never really learned how to use the anatomy, the transition from charcoal drawing to either painting an illustration or drawing a finished piece. And that's actually where most of the difficulty is. So we would learn things. We would take classes like we were fine artists, but if you don't know how to, and this is again before Photoshop was a thing, and even still, I think it's a problem. It doesn't matter if Photoshop exists or not. You have to know how to paint. That the jump between anatomy and illustration and actually finishing an illustration is enormous. It's a huge leap if you don't learn how to bridge that gap. So yeah, I think that we drew from models, and they weren't always the they weren't always the youngest or the healthiest models, and that also becomes a little bit of a problem. Yeah. And so yeah, we all learned the biggest thing everybody teaches these days, it seems, is gesture drawing, right? So get the gesture, make everything expressive, but the finishing part of it is so difficult to do, and that's where you lose all of the energy in your figure if you don't know how to do it. And so things like this, right, where you see me starting off and I'm kind of just doing these expressive marks, and now I'm just kind of having fun and sort of noodling around using two values. This is the stuff that is really important to see and get to know, because it shows you like, oh, the person, I can go back and I can watch this and see the person doing, the various stages of rough in. I can see what colors they use, things like that. And so the problem is that in very few classes, the good classes, the teacher would come along and just take their charcoal and go, that line's wrong, and make a mark. And that's the best thing you can get, is someone showing you where to move things. The worst examples were someone saying you need to move that over a little bit, or try this and try that, and then walking off. And then one of the best teachers I ever had did demos. So they would go, okay, let me show you how to draw. Let me show you how to use the charcoal. One of my favorite stories from my teaching was I was doing the first class of a class for freshmen called Introduction to Illustration, or I forget what the hell they called it. It had some overly dramatic name, I'm sure. And I had, explained like what illustration can be and how you put things together. Love that mechanoid. I appreciate that. I've seen and painted things you wouldn't believe. Acrylics off the shoulder of Orion. Good stuff. And so I would, was going on and saying, okay, it's going to be about color, value, composition, this and that, and and they had a supply list of stuff they had to get and all that kind of stuff. And so I got through my sort of introductory remarks, and a student was like, excuse me, Professor Enjeti? And I was like, yeah. I have a question. And I was like, yes, my child. Call upon me for wisdom. What is your question? And the student says, how do you sharpen a lead holder with the lead holder sharpener? I can't do it. The lead keeps breaking. And that is when you know. That is when you know how important it is to teach those basic core skills. They're really, really important to get going. Really important to get going. And I can't overstate just the that's what I'm looking for here. The positive effect it has on people's mental health to learn a new skill as opposed to um, be indoctrinated with a new idea. And so what illustration means to you or whatever the politicizing of any of this the arts is doesn't matter if you don't know how to paint, no one ever wants to look at your work. And that was the thing I really tried to focus on, is getting students the ability to make work that people wanted to look at. And there are rules that have, or there have been techniques and strategies and rules, I should think we can say safely, that allowed people to be able to do that throughout time. And I saw no reason for us to have thrown all of that stuff out as we did. And so I enjoyed, and I enjoy here even, bringing that stuff back in. Look at how this thing is coming together. This thing is nuts. Absolutely nuts. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. It's good to see you, Flutterbats. Yes, they are difficult times, to be sure. They are tough times, but um that is one of those things that is why it's important for us to recharge, and it's important for us to kind of always try to keep that chin up and work hard too. Giving nihilism no quarter, as I was actually saying at the start of this stream, is about recognizing it's there and recognizing what its aims are. And that is the great challenge, I think, at all times. And I think that all of us have had those moments in our lives when, man, I got to get that angle right. Had those moments in our lives where we became what people refer to as disillusioned. And I always say that one of the biggest things that it's important to remember is, before you were disillusioned, or before any of us are disillusioned, we must first be illusioned. And I think that um, there are a lot of folks who have been illusioned, who have been sort of confronted in this last week. And it's frustrating that that's oftentimes what things take, but it's the tendency. And so it becomes very difficult to present. And one of the things that I admire so much about Mr. Kirk, the late Mr. Kirk, is the fact that he presented options and alternatives that were aspirational. And I think what people's ultimate aim is to dishearten folks, dishearten folks about that, and have them say, well, what's the point? And that's sort of where that sort of seed grows in all of us. And it's why it's so essential for them to attack those kinds of things, those pillars, yeah, it's I can't overstate that. Yeah, so I transferred to sports rather than let me see, sports where I graduated rather than flunk out. Was this with art, with regards to art? Yeah, I think it's Timmy, let me know. Because I'm not sure. Did you say you switched to sports, or you switched to from art, or was it something else? Let me double check here. Sorry, let me get this real quick here, guys. Oh, that's kind of off right there. Yes, and I've seen a lot of those kinds of videos, Tammy, and I've seen which one are we saying? Interesting choice they made with only one side with an ear. On which thing? On this character design? Well, actually, on that side, what that is, and it's my I misread it when I was painting it. That's the danger of using photo reference, for me anyway. Is that there's a little bit of a ridge on both, but what that is right there, which I couldn't tell when I initially started it, because again, it's like I have not painted this before. But what that is right there, and I'll show it to you because I have to correct that, was nope, it's too light. I'll show it to you here as best I can. That is supposed to be the shoulder on the other side. You see what I mean? It's supposed to be that, and I didn't read it right. I thought it was like an ear or a part of the head, and I think I've thought that ever since I saw it for some reason on the VHS box. So this is a long-standing problem I have here with this. So let me just move that down there so it feels a little bit more accurate, even though it is very kind of like breaking a few rules of the design just to make it more, or sorry, of the reference just to make it more readable. So let me bring that down. There you go. So it's going to hopefully read a little bit better now as that comes together. Let me see. Oh my gosh, the chat is moving so fast when I put my head down. Let me see. Christopher Bouchard. It's awesome. Oh, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Oh, an art major when you were in college in 08. Oh, yeah, yeah. That makes sense. That would actually make sense, Timmy. I thought that's what you were saying. So let me see here. All right, let's get some red in here. Mm-mm-mm. I can hear. I don't know if you guys can hear this, but I can hear Mrs. Enjetti in the next room talking to the rabbit, which is hilarious. Sorry, it cracks me up. Oh my lord. All right. Let's see here. And this is another one I gotta do. So this is something I missed. This is another fang or sharp tooth. And let me, God, it's just 5 already. I can't stop. You guys have got me sucked in. Yeah, you heard her for a split second. Is that right? Yeah, it doesn't shock me. Yeah, she's on the phone. That's too funny. Let me see here. Yeah. Okay, that goes there. There we go. So now I missed a tooth right there, so I got to fix that. And get a lot of some nice bright red in there. And then start to blend that out just a little bit. There we go. And then we grab a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm going to try to make this there we go. I'm falling behind on the chat. It looks like there's a lump where the ear's supposed to be, but it varies from different versions. Oh, yeah, because he changes throughout the whole thing, too, right? Yeah, there's this weird kind of, yeah, he's this kind of this amorphous, shape-shifting thing throughout the flick, which is crazy. And I always have trouble reading what I'm looking at with him. So maybe that was one of the core difficulties I was having with him. See if I can move that in there. There we go. All right, now we're going to have some fun here with these brushes because I have got to get this thing where it needs to be. Okay. Let me see there. And so I've got a tooth there, a tooth there. I'm missing. And tooth there. There we go. And pull that in. Now we're starting to get there. And then I'm going to go in and put a little bit more of warm red right in there. Okay. And, okay, you see there. All right, so now let me put some fun brush strokes together on this thing, and we'll see where we're at. So was Pumpkinhead an answer in the great? Yes. You know what's so funny? Was Pumpkinhead a character? Yes, that's what I thought of. I thought of whenever I would hear. Guys, you have so many weird things that you say that are so funny. So let's go back to Charlie Brown and the Great Pumpkin for a second. So the Great Pumpkin, Mrs. Enjetti bought me because I guess they were selling it out at Target, a pumpkin-shaped record of the album of the Great Pumpkin for my birthday because I love Halloween and all that kind of stuff. So let's start there for wild overlaps. Then, I'm gonna put my hand in the paint no matter what I do. Then, when I first saw this box cover for this movie, this VHS cover, I thought that Pumpkinhead was exactly what I would have imagined the Great Pumpkin is looking like, which is a really troubling thing when you think about it. But 100%, that was a connection I made when I first saw this character. I said, is this what they were waiting for in the pumpkin patch? Because that's kind of terrifying, but cool. So yes, yes, and yes on all of that. But I had never seen a pumpkin-shaped record before. There we go. Now we're there. Okay, so last but not least, let me put this in here. Then I'm going to call this. I'm going to stick a fork in this one and call it done. Because I am hungry. I got to eat something. Let me see here. Put that tongue in there because it's a creepy looking thing. Let me see. Just letting that paint kind of mix together and do what it does. Letting it be, not worrying about having all of, the rendering there, but letting it come out with just a few things. And so now I'm going to take this red, hit it with a little bit of white, and then I'm just going to take that and have it be that highlight right there on the tongue, and that's going to make for something really fun, guys. All right, so I'm lying because I'm going to do one more thing because I have to do it. It drives me nuts. I'm going to take a little bit of blue, a little bit of white, and just give myself a nice little reflected light right there on the eye just to make it glow just a little bit more. There we go. That's doing better. And then a little bit right there. And there we go. There's some fun with acrylics and Pumpkinhead right there. A little doodle, little fun, little madness. May come back and do a little bit more on this, but for right now, that's just a look at the painting process. For me, when I'm working and laying some color down, guys, holy cow, that was rough. That was a very complicated character, but it was fun to do. Look at how crazy that color gets in there. Isn't that fun? Look at that. The horror of painting. Indeed, guys. Indeed, indeed. There will be more fun stuff to come. Don't you worry. We're still here at the studio in the heart of Lovecraft country doing our things. Look at this, the insanity. But remember, just orange, blue, black, white, and then I added a little bit of alizarin crimson in for that mouth, guys. Here we go. We're going to keep doing this stuff, no matter how painful it is, and no matter how wild it goes, because I want to show you guys some of this stuff. And as I get more comfortable painting with this setup and painting in front of you guys, we're going to have a lot of fun. So thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. Thank you for the super chats. I really do appreciate it. And thank you guys for your channel memberships. We've got a fun Pizza Live coming up. I think it might be next week because I have family coming in town. But let me say this too, because this is very, very important, guys. It's going to be 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, the 1916 version. It is so cool. It's going to blow your minds that we were doing this in 1916, and you guys are going to have a great time. So from the heart of Lovecraft country, in the birthplace of American religious liberty, my name is Shanth Enjeti. You've been watching Shanth Enjeti Art, another episode of the horror of painting and forbidden art lessons from the heart of Lovecraft country. Thank you guys so much for being here. Stick a fork in me. I am done. My brain is pudding right now. But I will see you guys very soon on this channel. It's been fun painting out some Pumpkinhead. And thank you, Lord Hinson. I do appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yes, we are going to get that Pizza Live figured out. I just got to figure out the scheduling thing, and we will get there. Thank you so much, Flutterbat. Thank you so much, John. Thank you so much, Timmy Mello and Tammy D. It is great to see all of you guys here in the chat, Alpha Channel. Great seeing you, Krabby Patty. Great seeing you. Mechanoid, good to see you, of course, as always. Who else am I missing? I'm missing anybody else? Let me just check the end of the chat, too, to make sure. Mark's Music Obsession, of course. Great to see you, brother. And let's see. Random McRanderson, it is great to see you. And let's see, and I got Timmy Mello, Christopher Bouchard. Let's see here. There's Timmy. I was looking for Timmy's. Right there, guys. Take care. I will see you, Amoral Fat 40 Ounce. Great having all of you guys here. I will see you soon. Speak easy, stay gold, keep the faith, and give nihilism no quarter. Here you go, channel members. Here you are in the credits. Take care.
You now enter the domain of paint and canvas. The only limits are those of the imagination. You now enter the domain of paint and canvas. The only limits are those of the imagination. New possibilities will emerge with every brushstroke, and the paint thickens.